Stand by for Gowana.org radio. In 3, 2, 1. Cue the announcer.
You found Gowana.org radio, your one source for tech news and reviews. Now, almost live from sunny Florida, here's your host, Gowana McCall.
Greetings, folks, and welcome to episode 237 of Gowana.org radio. We got a great show lined up. I like how Adam says it on that little intro. He says, Gowana.org radio. I used to be called Gowana throughout my years. People used to butcher my name. It just brings back memories when I hear my name pronounced Gowana.org radio. We got a great show lined up for episode 237, bit.ly, bit.ly/BDOR 237. Let me apologize for, I took a personal holiday on Tuesday. We call it a Battlefield holiday because Battlefield Bad Company 2 was released. And I was like, should I do a show? Or should I play Battlefield? People are like, play Battlefield. I'm like, well, I don't know. Then I changed my topic in the chat room. Podcast canceled due to Battlefield holiday. Yeah, I got my Battlefield on. Lots of good stuff with that game. I'm going to talk a little bit about in this show, not a whole lot, because there's been some overshadowing news in the gaming arena. We're going to get to all of those things very, very soon. So stay tuned for that kind of stuff right now. We got a great show lined up for episode 237 of Gowana.org radio.
It's time for Gowana.org radio's tech news for this week.
For our first story, we're going to talk about Blockbuster, guys. Blockbuster is a very, very popular and very old. And for some of you kids, you probably, when you were born, there was always a Blockbuster there. This is a video rental place, brick and mortar place. And they were recently challenged by the folks over at Netflix. And, you know, when Netflix challenged Blockbuster, they had to change the way they were doing things because Netflix was kind of taking over. So Blockbuster kind of went back to the drawing board and said, hey, let's get rid of things that people hate. Let's get rid of things that people are a little bit annoyed about our service. And one of those things was late fees. People used to loathe late fees. And, you know, it got to the point to where the late fees dwarfed the actual amount of the movie. You'd have $150 in late fees and the movie's only worth $20. And, you know, it was a good business model for them, but people didn't like it. We just don't like to return movies on time. So Netflix came along and said, hey, we don't have any late fees. Keep the movie for as long as you like. You can watch it until the cows come home. And everybody jumped on that. So Blockbuster removed late fleas. Fleas that are late. You were late. Anyway, this first story is kind of disheartening because Blockbuster is kind of going to bring that stuff back. Out of nowhere, they're going to say, hey guys, remember that late fee thing we took away? Yeah, we're going to bring it back. So if you're a Blockbuster user, be prepared to be charged $1 for up to 10 days for late returns, okay, with a max fee of $10. That's good, okay. They put a max fee of $10. Before it was ridiculous. Before it was just ridiculous. So this, I don't know, guys. They're taking a step backwards, if you ask me. Why would they do this? I don't know. It says this news comes as Blockbuster shares some grim financial news in the world. In the fourth quarter of 2009 alone, the company lost $435 million. $435 million. Blaming their continuing slide in competition from companies like Netflix. And I mentioned Netflix because that's pretty much their primary competitor. And you got another up-and-comer here that we talked about a few shows ago, Redbox. You know, you got Redbox out there, and there's Redbox kiosks out there, and Blockbuster's trying to compete because they got Blockbuster kiosks out there where you can just put your credit card in and out pops a movie. Yeah, Blockbuster's in financial disarray. So they're going to bring back late fees to try to help that. I don't know if they're going to increase their customer base with that. They may make more money in the short term with their existing base, but their existing base might say, hey, guys, I'm going to go over here to Netflix. I mean, I only went to Blockbuster for X, Y, and Z, and they're pretty much adding this other thing on there, so I don't know if I'm going to stick around. Check it out. This one's over on the consumerist.com. They got the details and links to their fourth quarter earnings. Apple, we're going to shift gears to Apple a little bit. They're removing all of the Wi-Fi scanning apps from the App Store. This comes by way of the iPhone blog. I almost call it the unofficial Apple weblog, but it's the iPhone blog. They're removing Wi-Fi scanning apps. Now, I actually bought one of these. I forgot which one I have. But these apps are apparently using private APIs, private application programmer interfaces to get data to the user. So Apple is finally cracking down on that. And according to this article, a lot of the developers thought they were in the clear because Apple let them get away with it for so long. But apparently Apple has dropped the gauntlet and just start removing some of these apps from the App Store. Now, I don't know if mine's going to stop working. I don't know. It's very useful, especially if I'm like the other day at our ministry. I was setting up the Wi-Fi connection. And I wanted to see which channels were in use because I didn't want to conflict. So I saw some people on channel. I saw a bunch of people on default channels, and I got off of those channels. So I used it to kind of sniff out what the existing connections were on, so I could put ours on a different channel, and I put the appropriate security on there. So it's it was useful to me. I'm kind of sad to see it go. Hopefully they'll be able to introduce something in the next API in the next SDK, to kind of alleviate and give these guys something to use. It's a very useful app to have on your phone, especially when you're on the go. Wi-Fi, that's one of the things you use Wi-Fi on. One of the places you use Wi-Fi is when you're on the go, especially at a coffee shop or something. And if you want to find a free Wi-Fi, which are pretty much plentifully available today, an app like this is indispensable. Check this out. The iPhone blog has more details about Apple removing Wi-Fi scanning apps. Stop what you're doing, says this article. Stop what you're doing and install this plugin. And I did. I read the headline and I did. I installed this plugin. It's called Reportive. This is a Cambridge, UK startup. And this is a plugin for Firefox and Chrome, okay, that's going to do something very nifty in Gmail. It's going to replace the ads. That when you open an email on Gmail, on the right side there's ads. It's going to replace the ads with information about the sender. It's very nifty, guys. You got to at least try it out. If you don't want to keep it, at least try it out. It's absolutely free. And you go to your email, you check your email, and what it does is that it lists information about the person. I don't know where they get this stuff from. I need to figure out where they're getting it from. But they have their Facebook, their LinkedIn, they have different links, and you can actually add feedback to this person. You can add comments. It's like an interactive social media plugin for Gmail. And it's automatic, and it replaces the ads. Stop what you're doing and install this plugin right now. This is called Reportive, guys, and it works on Chrome and on Firefox. It said it takes 2 minutes to set up. It took me less than 20 seconds. And that included the download, install, and clicking on, I think there was a login button, and you had to grant rights to your account to use your email account. And that was it. That was it, guys. It was very simple. Stop what you're doing. This one's over at readwriteweb.com. Reportive, a great Gmail plugin for Chrome and Firefox. Check it out. Next story has to do with Google in a sense. We're going to talk about YouTube. Now, in the past, I used to design a lot of websites. I mean, a lot of websites by hand. And I would often have to create images myself in Photoshop, or whether it be right now I'm using Pixelmator on the Mac. And I would have to create my own buttons. And it was always cool to have the vendor create, buttons for me. It's like if I wanted to do a Twitter button, or back at the time it was like email buttons when I was doing stuff. But this next article is about YouTube buttons, and this is very cool. And this, if you do have a YouTube channel, you might like some of these buttons that this site has created. Official YouTube buttons for your account. These are buttons and banner images to promote your YouTube channel. So basically, what you can do is they teach you how to add yourself or create a link to add your YouTube channel. So if you want to link to a certain, right to the subscription, you can do that. And they got a variety of sizes and colors, everything from red, green, and blue, the major colors, gray, and a giant banner here. So, I even got one as seen on YouTube. These are cute. It's YouTube, Superstar, and the like. So these are free, absolutely free to use over on labno.org. Official YouTube buttons to use for your site. And I encourage you guys to utilize this if you do have a YouTube channel. I do have a YouTube channel. And I think it's very useful to have something like this to promote on your website. I'm thinking about taking one of these and making a variant of it. And you know, just utilize the graphics that they have and kind of alter it to meet my needs. Check it out. That one's over on labno.org.
You're listening to Bawana.org Radio, a potpourri of tech news and reviews.
Next story, we're going to talk about Google and some more. Some stuff some more. Now, the Google Apps space. You guys ever heard of Google Apps, right? The Google Docs, spreadsheets, presentation, all that stuff. They're making a big play in the industry to basically compete with Office and Microsoft Office, I mean. And Microsoft Office is kind of acknowledging that. You can tell because of Microsoft Office 2010, they have a lot of online features, in the cloud features, if you will. Now, one of the concerns with a lot of organizations with Google Apps is the safety and integrity of the data. So if you build a bunch of docs, you make a bunch of docs or spreadsheets, you know, what happens when that data center, if that data center were to catch on fire, you know, God forbid. Or if there was a data crash on one of the hard drive, on one of the millions of hard drives that Google has, and your data gets lost. There's just data security concerns. And if you're a big company or a small up-and-coming company, and these documents are your business, they're the make and break of your business, you kind of need some peace of mind. Well, today, Google announced something that will probably help you. This is Google Apps Disaster Proof, is what TechCrunch called it. But Google Apps is basically announcing synchronous replication. Buana, what the heck is a synchronous what? Synchronous replication. Basically, they're going to back up your data. They're going to transfer and back up your data to offsite sources and destinations automatically. And it's going to be live and synchronous. So when you save a doc, you know, according to Google, it's going to be pretty fast. That data is going to be replicated across multiple data centers multiple times. And basically, they're going to give you 25 gigabytes per employee for free. And I think after that, they have some costs associated with it. It's going to cost you, of course. So if you're big into Google Docs and you want to bring this into your organization, and data security and data integrity, concerns about the life of the data is one of the things that's preventing you from doing it. Here's another option for you. Google Apps is now allowing us to do synchronous live replication across multiple data centers. Very, very cool stuff. Over on TechCrunch.com. Go check it out over there. Next story, we're going to move to some gaming stuff. Gaming. I mentioned on Tuesday was a Battlefield holiday, and it was. I played Battlefield Bad Company 2 on the PC platform for a majority of the afternoon and night. Did a mixture of single player and multiplayer, and I gotta say it's a good game. I do plan to review it. I do plan to do a similar review that I did with MAG, not as lengthy probably because there's a lot less to cover. But the PC port of Battlefield Bad Company 2 was what I played. Now this next article I'm going to talk about, it's not good news. And if you've been playing Bad Company 2 on either the consoles or the PC, you probably know of some of these problems that have been happening on the launch. Now this article focuses on the PC, but I'm going to first, verbally talk about some of the console problems that happened. Basically, there were a lot of issues with the Battlefield Veteran site, giving people credit. If you're not familiar with the Battlefield Veteran site, go to veteran.battlefield.com, and it allows you to input all the games you've bought, the previous Battlefield games you bought, and what EA Dice does is they reward you with a weapon. So that's not working. It's just not working, and a lot of people complain about matchmaking issues. They try to join servers and it's not allowing them to connect, and that's one of the things that's happening on this PC port here. A lot of people, including myself, have having trouble connecting to servers. Now the server list shows up on the PC, you have a browser of a serverless. It's dedicated servers. There's a lot of servers there to pick from. You pick one, but it doesn't connect. Now, this website is talking about issues that are happening, but they give you some workarounds. EA Dice has given us some issues or some solutions to issues that are occurring. Number one, they tell you to uninstall the beta, which is something I don't have. I haven't done. I mean, the BC2 beta. If you have the PC beta, they say to uninstall that and to remove the beta from your My Documents and to basically get rid of all remnants of the beta because it may be causing some problems. Now, another thing they said, which I am more happy to hear, is that they're going to be sending out R4 servers to their hosting providers. They're going to send out more servers and beef up the server side, which I think will address some of the problems. It's not going to address all of them, obviously. But, there's been all kinds of issues, and most notably with the multiplayer and online, EA Online. Sometimes you can't connect. It's been going up and down like crazy. And, one of the good things about this, there's always a silver lining in all this, is that it gives you a chance to play the single player. Yeah. A lot of us, when we got it, including myself, we jumped right into the multiplayer. So this gives you a chance to try the single player. It's like, okay, I can't connect to the multiplayer, so I might as well just try the single player. And I played the single player, and I got to say, it was pretty fun. I'll talk about it later in my massive review. Not going to be massive, but in my review of Battlefield Bad Company 2. Check it out. This article over on altplus4.com. Battlefield Bad Company 2 PC multiplayer launch has problems. And yes, it did have problems. And it still does. To this day, it's having problems. Hopefully, they'll be resolved. Next story, we're going to talk a little bit about the PS3. Now, you guys probably already know what I'm going to talk about. There was a few days ago, there was some issues with the PlayStation 3. Some people thought and speculated that it was a worldwide PSN, PlayStation Network. They thought it was a worldwide catastrophe. They thought it was a virus. They thought it was, if you connect to PSN, you're going to get bricked. Oh my goodness, your PS3 is going to die. The whole world is going to implode. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's just going to be massacre. It's going to be apocalypse. With a 3 at the end. Spelled with apocalypse. I like to say it like that. Apocalypse. Anyway, the cause of this issue, it was on March 1st, a few days ago, it was a leap year bug with a lot of different SKUs, a lot of different models of the PlayStation 3. Apparently, the PlayStation 3s thought it was February 29th when it was actually March 1st. And this caused the entire system to go into system shock, to go nuts. And it essentially just brought the systems down. Now. One of the things that people speculate was that PSN went down, and it absolutely didn't go down. This was localized to the PS3 units that had this problem, and according to this article, it's due to the ARM chip. Now, you may remember from the past that the Zune had a much similar issue than this. It had a very similar issue, and it's due to the ARM chip, and apparently the PS3 has the same ARM chip that the Zune has. Isn't that ironic? Microsoft and Sony share some hardware components, and both are having issues. It's very, very, very strange that this bug was introduced into this chip and it wasn't documented. And, a lot of companies are falling victim to massive problems like this. That's the issue that concerns me more than the PS3s, all deciding not to work on the same day. It's just that this ARM chip made it out, and people and companies are actually relying on this chip to run their hardware units, and it's causing them to crash. Now, Sony has 4 years, to the next leap year, 3 or 4 years, to the next leap year. So it's I think it's 2012 actually. It's Oh, that's ironic. I'm not going to talk about that. It's kind of disheartening that this got through. Now, a lot of people are, and I want to address this as well. A lot of people compared this to the Xbox 360 Red Ring of Death. And, you know, it was during the beginnings of it. They were like, oh, this is worse than the Xbox 360 Red Ring of Death. No, apocalypse. And it was kind of concerning at first. You know, I was a little bit worried. I didn't turn my PS3 on anyway. That day I was pretty busy, so I didn't affect me too much. But the 360 Red Ring of Death, you know, and this problem, they're not comparison. They're basically not comparable. Now that we know what the problem was and is, you know, I'm not gonna say the problem's harmless because it isn't. It brought down the whole system. But you can't compare it to the Red Ring of Death. Come on, guys. That was a fundamental flaw with the first Xbox 360s. That happened every day. It wasn't just on leap year. So PS3, I saw a bunch of articles about this as well, about the Final Fantasy 13. People basically buying Final Fantasy 13 on the 360 because of this. And I'm like, what? Let's all pull out our jump to conclusion match, shall we? That's what I was thinking about when I saw this. So check this story out. Over on Engadget.com, Apocalypse was due to an ARM chip bug with the leap year deal here, which affected the Zune as well. Check it out. They got the details. Move over there. Speaking of the PS3, there was a big announcement today. It has been hyped up for a few days that Sony was going to make a huge announcement with a game. A brand new game. People are like, oh, it's going to be the next version of Warhawk? Is it going to be Insomniac? Is it going to be, who's it going to be? 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 Yeah. SOCOM 4, guys. SOCOM 4. And it's going to be made by Zipper. SOCOM 4 has been announced. It will be released this fall. And this is a very popular game. If you don't know much about SOCOM, I think it still is the most popular online shooter or online game on PSN. And people hate it. People hate SOCOM Confrontation. You know, this was a port that was made by another company, not Zipper. They hate it, but it's still the most played game. That's how much people love this franchise. This fall, it'll be released. And according to this, you're going to have, I think, a squad of 5. They go through the synopsis. They give some screenshots. Very nice looking game, guys. And it's going to look like MAG. If it looks like MAG, then yeah, that's the Zipper style. Now, what they put in here, and that was one of the first things I was concerned about. Are they going to abandon MAG? And they say no. They are not going to abandon MAG. They're still going to support it. Still going to add new features and tweak it. But SOCOM 4 will be coming out this fall. And I'm telling you guys, whether this game is good or bad, it's going to sell. Because the SOCOM following is tremendous. And I'll admit, I'm not a big SOCOM player, but I'm probably going to start. You know, I know a lot of people play SOCOM 2 and on the PS2, I think it was, and, you know, some of the early ones. And I've actually seen some people play it, and it looked fun. You know, but back then I wasn't really into tactical shooters and you know, these types of shooters. I was into different types of games back then, mostly MMOs and other types of games. But yeah, SOCOM 4, guys, coming out this fall. Huge announcement from Sony. Now, a lot of people are disappointed, like, oh, it's SOCOM. I was hoping there was some kind of new game, some kind of new IP, some kind of new thing we've never heard of. Hopefully, whatever. SOCOM 4. It's going to be nice, guys. Check it out. This one's over on the PlayStation blog, and they got the details over there.
You found Bwana.org Radio. Tech news and tech gadgets for the hardcore geek in all of us.
Next story is just crazy. That's the only thing I can say, guys. It's been crazy, and it has to do with Activision and Infinity Ward. Wow. That's all I have to say, guys, is wow. let me try to explain or summarize this soap opera. It's a soap. It's so crazy. Okay, it started with a rumor, with the screenshot of a Facebook status from one of the co-founders of Infinity Ward. He basically said he was jobless. He was drinking and jobless. So immediately, everybody was like, blah, 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 what? And it was later confirmed, I'm skipping ahead, later confirmed that the two heads of Infinity Ward, let me get their names for you. Their names are, I don't want to butcher them. Their names are Jason West and Vince Zampella. These are the top execs, okay, at Infinity Ward. They were apparently ousted from Activision, ousted from the company, and basically for unknown specific reasons. The people over Activision filed an SEC report basically saying they were in breach of their contract and other vague terminology to make it seem like they were incompetent. So that's step one. These two guys were fired. And Infinity Ward sent Activision sent security, the typical walkout procedures and typical prevent mass mayhem and hysteria procedures. They sent not armed personnel. They just sent bodyguards and stuff to Infinity Ward on the day it happened, so it wouldn't get out of hand. So that was step one. They got fired, and apparently this was confirmed. That's what this article is talking about. That Activision confirmed their departures. Then they announced two things. They announced that Treyarch or whatever you pronounce it is going to do the next Call of Duty, which is Vietnam. Everybody knew that already. That was already now common knowledge. But the next Call of Duty, which people assume was going to be Infinity Ward, is going to be headed by Sledgehammer Games. These are the guys who did Dead Space. The two new the people that are going to be in charge of that are going to be from Sledgehammer. So if you look at this on the surface, it looks like Call of Duty is no longer in the hands of Infinity Ward. It looks like Activision has basically said Call of Duty is ours now. Thanks for the billions of dollars. Bye-bye. Yeah. And not only that, get this, guys. Not only that, get this. This second game that's going to be coming out, I think in 2011, is going to, they worded it as this. It's going to pursue new digital business models and high-margin digital online content, which in a lot of circles, and including mine, sounds like an MMO. And you guys may have read about a rumor that they were going to turn Call of Duty into an MMO, or massively multiplayer online game, with a monthly fee. And it sounds like that's the way they're going. It's like they're going to try to create their own planet side. So yeah, that's the first story I want to bring to your attention. Now, there's a corresponding story, the next story that we're going to talk about. The developers who got fired by Activision have turned around and sued Activision. Now, why did they sue them? Why did they possibly sue them? Well, apparently Activision has not paid the royalties yet. The royalties for Modern Warfare 2. And if you've been following my podcast here and gaming blogs in general, you know that Modern Warfare 2 made a truck ton of money. We're talking almost $1 billion. Easily. And Infinity Ward has not received one penny of royalties. And apparently, this whole fiasco started because because Activision basically said, we're not going to pay royalties. Due to this, and this, you guys are fired. So these guys have come back and said the following. Instead of thanking, lauding, or just paying Jason, this is their lawyers, or paying Jason and Vince for giving Activision the most successful entertainment product ever offered to the public, last month Activision hired lawyers to conduct a pretextual investigation into unstated and unsubstantiated charges of insubordination and breach of fiduciary duty, which then became grounds for their termination on Monday, March 1st. So they started this process a month ago to basically fire these guys and to not pay royalties. So these guys are going to sue them to get their money. And I don't see any reason why they're not going to get their money. Do you? They made the game. Unless they stole the CEO's dog and won't give it back. Or basically stole company secrets and they're planning to sell them to EA. They're going to get their money. This is I read a couple articles, it might have been this one, said it's probably going to settle out of court. It won't even get to trial. It's ridiculous that Activision, and you guys know, here at Born.org Radio, I'm not a big fan of Activision. I've been saying it for months. These guys are straight up evil. Bobby Kotick goes and just says, we want to charge more. We don't care what you guys think. He has these crazy quotes. And, we've seen earnings statements that basically said they basically killed the Guitar Hero franchise. And looks like they're trying to kill this one as well. And you guys know I don't know if you know the Brutal Legend story. They tried to kill that as well. Brutal Legend ended up going to EA. Very, very evil company here, guys. And I bash Infinity Ward a lot, but a couple of shows I did say it may have been Activision influencing this, and it sounds like it is. It really sounds like Activision is the reason why. You can basically attribute a lot of the bad decisions on Modern Warfare 2 to Activision. For them to come around and do this kind of confirms that there's something seriously wrong over there at Activision. So I'm gonna have a change of heart here, guys. I'm gonna be rooting for Infinity Ward in this case. I usually bash them to pieces, but these guys, they don't deserve this. I'm pretty sure they put a lot of work into this game, a lot of heart. They made a ton of money. Even though I bash it, they did something right because they sold a lot of this game. And for Activision to basically claim that it's theirs, you don't own it anymore. We're going to take it. We're going to do whatever we want with it. We're going to butcher it, basically. It's just plain, flat out wrong. Check that story out. That one was over on a bunch of sites. I forgot what it was. I've closed it now. But check it out. It's all over the internet, guys. Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward, Activision. All kinds of crazy, crazy things happening in that arena. So check that out. We're going to shift gears. Now, that was depressing, wasn't it? Yeah. We're going to go to some happy stuff, especially if you're a Mac user. Valve. Our happy friends at Valve are doing some crazy stuff. Crazy good stuff. Man, they are on a roll. All right, we're going to first talk about this thing with the Mac. They're teasing. Valve released a bunch of images. It's like these Apple-related images. And it just basically blatantly says they're going to release Steam for the Mac. And some of these images are very clever. They have the Team Fortress 2 Sentry, and they have the Portal Sentry looking at each other. And the TF2 Sentry says, I'm a PC. And I'm a PC. I guess the Portal guy is a Mac. And they have the little iPhone dots at the bottom, which is very Mac-ish. Some of these are very well done. Let me click on a couple of these here. Hopefully they'll show up a little bit. We have the heavy guy holding a sandwich instead of an iPod. We got the Left 4 Dead guy. I hate different, and you got a zombie in the background. And the aspect ratio is kind of messed up. This is one of my favorites. Hold on, let me go and see if I can get the right aspect ratio for this one. This one with the that's not looking right. Anyway, basically it has a woman from Half-Life, and they have her throwing a crowbar into the evil face like the Apple 1984 ad. I was hoping they'd have the right aspect ratio, but they don't. Very, very good stuff, guys. And I talked about this last show. That was basically the theme of last show. That Steam was possibly coming to Mac. People found files that related to Mac, and these ads have pretty much confirmed. And it's all kinds of stuff coming out about this. And I don't know if they're going to create games. That's one thing I'm really looking forward to. Now, we're expecting some kind of announcement next week at the Game Developers Conference. We suspect that's why Valve is teasing these images. Valve is teasing a lot lately. They've been busy teasing. We're expecting some sort of an announcement next week at GDC. And I don't know if they're going to port these games to Mac or if it's just going to be a Mac version of Steam. Because there's already a bunch of games that are playable on Steam that work on Mac. But I don't know if they're going to port like Orange Box to Mac, or maybe there's an announcement of Half-Life to Episode 3, and it's going to be on Mac and PC. That would just blow everybody away, and people, would be in a coma for a few weeks after the shock. It's going to be fun, guys. Next week's going to be very interesting. So check the story out. This was over on the unofficial Apple weblog. Valve teases a Mac release of Half-Life, Portal, and Team Fortress 2. Next story, we're going to continue on the Valve train. Portal. You guys remember the Portal game? It was included in Orange Box. Valve released a series of updates to Portal. And it's been a lot of stuff, man. Valve's been going nuts. They released these updates. It was some weird update message about radio transmissions meeting government standards. And people have been digging and digging and digging and digging into this update and finding all kinds of stuff. It's basically image files and clues to connect to a BBS. It has BBS phone numbers and images and all kinds of clues that's hinting towards a possible Portal sequel. And I'm not going to go into the details, but there's a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff, and people have been figuring it out left and right. But this story talks about the recent update, which adds a brand new ending to Portal. If you've ever played Portal, you know there's an ending where I'm not going to give too many spoilers, but there's an ending. They have a new ending, which kind of goes along with all the other stuff I said. Check this out, guys. If you don't want to buy Portal, I suggest you do. And you don't want to go through it again because you have to get certain achievements to get this new ending related to this whole radio thing. So you have to get certain achievements to get this new ending. If you don't want to do that, they have a video here. I don't know if it's this link or another one, but you can look for it on YouTube, or you can just email me and I'll send it to you. It's all over the web. They have this video of the new ending, and you can check it out and see what the hoopla is about. I think it's exciting. Portal's a good game, guys. It was definitely, to me, it started a whole new kind of genre. It's like a first-person puzzle, I don't recall many first-person puzzles. Very, very cool. I mean, certain games have puzzle elements to them, which happen to be in first person, but this was like a first-person puzzle game, and I hope they continue with the Portal franchise. So Valve's doing a good job with Portal, and they're doing a good job with, if they do come up with Mac support, it's going to be a good thing. So check it out. That was over on multiplayer.mtv, multiplayerblog.mtv.com. And finally, I want to end it on a good note as well. This is an absolutely amazing story, guys. Absolutely amazing story. Internet heroes help blind gamer beat Zelda, Ocarina of Time. I'm not kidding. Some internet heroes help a blind gamer beat Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Now, what these guys did, they spent 2 years playing the game blindfolded. They spent 2 whole years playing the game blindfolded so that they can get through it by only using sound cues, so that the visually impaired so that a visually impaired gamer living in another country can play the game. They spent 2 years playing the game blindfolded, guys. Using nothing but... You know what Zelda... Have you ever played Zelda? Have you ever... It's not Mario, man. It's not just like... No. This is an involved game. There's a lot, man. There's a lot to this game. And for them to actually create this is a marvel in itself. For them to actually create a system of sound cues to beat a video game is big in itself. But for the guy to actually beat the game, a blind guy beat Zelda? Man, these guys deserve a trophy, medal, kudos, Triforce, whatever. It's absolutely astounding what these guys have done, and I'm so impressed that it's beyond words, because I actually beat Super Mario Brothers blindfolded as well, and I did use sound cues. I didn't write it down, but it was all sound cues. Music and sound cues were the key to knowing your timings. Zelda, I don't think I could do it. I see why it took 2 years. I see why it took years. 2 years. Check this out. This one's over on joystick.com. They got the details over there. That concludes episode 237 of Bwana.org Radio. I want to thank everybody for coming by. We're here live at live.bwana.tv every Tuesday and Thursday night, unless it's a Battlefield holiday. Every Tuesday and Thursday night at about 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do this thing. We have chat, live chat, video, interactivity, and fun. So if you want to come by and watch me do a live taping of the show, you can do that. We're here. We'll be here. And we have all kinds of good fun and good times over here. I also encourage you to sign up for our forum. Go to Bwana.org/forum, Bwana.org/forum, and sign up for our forum. We have all kinds of tech news, tech topics, discussions. You can submit feedback to this show, introduce yourself, meet the other members of the community. It's a great place to meet everybody here at. It's called All Things Bwana because it has to do with everything that I do, not just Bwana.org Radio. All right, folks, that concludes episode 237 of Bwana.org Radio, and I will see you next time.